Back when I worked for the newspaper, one of the jobs I had to do was write what we called police blotters. A police blotter was nothing more than a brief story about minor criminal activity that had taken place in the area. And to write it, we had to read about the incident in an arrest report. After going through thousands and thousands of arrest reports, I began to develop a feel for what constituted a crime in my area. So you can imagine my surprise when I came across a citation for a guy who was riding his bicycle on the wrong side of the road. That seemed like such a trivial offense, but apparently there is a law regarding that. You're supposed to ride your bicycle with traffic, and this man was riding against traffic. Now see, when I was a kid, my parents taught me to ride against traffic too. The reason being that you could see the cars coming toward you, and if one of them looked like it was going to veer off and hit you, you could bail out and get out of the road before he mowed you down. But apparently they want you to ride with traffic. I guess they want you to die. At any rate, this fellow received a ticket for riding his bicycle against traffic. And that seemed like a very trivial offense. I couldn't believe that they had gone ahead and written him a ticket, but oh well, what are you going to do? Meanwhile, my mom had a car accident in 2018, and her license was taken away from her. She was in her early 90s, and it was probably time for her to quit driving anyway. So we looked into the possibility of getting her a golf cart. She lived in a neighborhood where it was legal to drive golf carts out on residential streets. But we ended up not getting her a golf cart because the law required you to have a driver's license in order to drive a golf cart on the street. And of course, Mom didn't have a driver's license any longer. And I thought that was odd because I, to this day, see kids younger than 10 or 12 years old barreling down the streets in golf carts. And I have never, ever, ever seen a cop pull over one of these golf carts full of kids. That would seem to be a much more serious violation of the law than riding your bicycle against traffic, but there you go. But then I remembered something about that fellow on the bicycle. He was African American. These kids driving the golf carts, they're your typical blonde-haired, blue-eyed, white-skinned little urchins. So when African Americans complain about what they call systemic racism, they're not screwing around. There really is something called systemic racism, and it is happening. And I know this because I have seen it with my own eyes. And I can empathize with people of color because the LGBTQ community has to put up with some of the same discriminations. It's really crappy, and it needs to stop.